Welcome to mt4gadgets.com. This is another video in the beginners series. In this video we're going to talk about constants. Constants as a definition is a container of a value. So similar to what variables are, they are a named container for a value and they are defined with a data type. The big difference between constants and variables is that variables you can modify the value assigned to a variable during the execution of your code, while with constants it's not possible to change the value because otherwise you would encounter an error during the compilation. So remember that in terms of differences between constants and variables. Variables are named containers for a value that can change the value during execution, while constants are named container for a value which value cannot be changed during your program execution. We'll see some code as an example, but just to mention a couple of the benefits of using constants in your code. First of all is code clarity, meaning having a named container and giving meaningful names to certain values makes your code more readable and understandable. Maintenance is another big benefit because you can modify your code more quickly. For example, if you have a fixed value that you want to change in your code, you just need to use a constant instead so that you can assign a different value to the constant instead so that the different value is retrieved in all the code when referencing that constant. Lastly, for error prevention, with the difference that constants values cannot change, you can make sure that some of the values across your code is constant, define it as a constant so that you protect your code against any unintentional modification that you might have in the code. Let's see some code now for to understand better with some examples. Okay, we are here in MetaEditor to see an example of use of constants. You will see that the code is very similar to what variables, to how variables are used with very small differences. So if we see in this example, we have a comment in there with example of constants use, and the way you declare a new constant is you use const to start the line, and then you use the data type that you want the constant to be. In this case, we want an integer constant, and then we will need to assign a name to the constant. And in terms of best practices, you usually want your constant to be all uppercase. So if I want to define a constant max orders, I'll use all in uppercase with an underscore to divide the words, and I assign a value of 10 to the constant max orders. So basically the code is a declaration of a constant max orders of integer type and value 10. If you compile the code, compilation works correctly, and I'll show you how constants cannot be changed. So if you were to try and change the value of constant max orders to 5, you will get a compilation error because, as we said before, Constants are very similar to variables, but their value cannot be changed during code execution. The value needs to remain the same as when it started and when it was declared. So hopefully this video was useful to understand another building blocks of coding in MQL5. We cover constants, and I'm sure that you will work with them frequently in building your custom tools. I hope this video was useful. If you haven't already, please come and check us out at mt4gadgets.com, and I hope to see you soon.